Hello, folks. This is Joe from MIGeekScene. I'm here at the Grand Rapids Comic Con with creator and illustrator Dan Monroe. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
I managed to sneak into the doors before the event started, so don't tell anyone. Dan, you've worked with several celebrities on kids' books, and I would like to talk about that.
Okay.
What books did you create?
Oh, man, you know, I've created the Dennis the Wild Bull book with Dennis Rodman, all-around NBA, Hall of Famer. Erica Liniak, I did a book called What Would You Do When You Lose Your Lullabaloo? I've done books with Jesse James Leha as a boxer. I've done books with. I did the book with Deontay Wilder just recently, and he's the current heavyweight boxing world champion. So lots of different people.
Out of the celebrities, which ones were a pleasure to work with?
Boy, I'll tell you what. Erica Eleniak was just an extreme pleasure because, we would actually Skype, and she was just talk to me like a normal person and just nice and very accommodating, and she had ideas. She actually sent me sketches that she had done for her book, so that I knew what direction that she was thinking, which is really, really nice.
So she's an artist too?
No, she's not an artist. Didn't
Okay.
say that. And even she's like, what, excuse my scribblings, but it was a directional type sketch type idea.
Okay. Well, why is Frank Frazetta one of your influences?
Boy, man, you know what? Frank Frazetta, he was the guy back, of course, I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, and I remember my brother buying Eerie magazines for me and everything else, back in the mid-70s. And Frank Frazetta was always on the cover. Frank and Boris Vallejo and all those guys, those were the guys that I really looked up to. I loved all their stuff and still do because all their stuff was on my favorite stuff.
Was there any pieces of work that stood out to you from Mr. Frazetta?
Boy, you know what? Mr. Frazetta has so many. I have so many of his books, but you know what? One of the big ones always was the Molly Hatchet covers, and especially the Viking, which is full frontal coming towards the viewer, towards the camera. That was always a real favorite of mine. And of course, Death Dealer. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong with Death Dealer.
I'm sorry, I'm unfamiliar. I'm ashamed to admit that. I'll have to look that up post-interview. I'm like, oh, yes.
Yep.
Forgive me for reading this next one, but several of your illustrations are centered on dragons, and your website moniker is Dragon Brush Art, and your old website went by Evil Dragonfire. What is the significance of the dragon to you?
Well, when I was, of course, dragon to me is a symbol of power and a symbol of, authority, and of course I try to equate myself with that and with the honor and everything of the dragon. But aside from that, when I was stationed in Honolulu, Hawaii, I actually learned how to airbrush t-shirts and things in a little street corner t-shirt shop. And, back then, the term hot air was thrown around a lot concerning airbrushes.
Okay, I thought you meant like egotistical people.
No, not at all. It was a badge of honor for somebody to come up and say, hey, man, that's some hot air right there. You know what I mean? They were talking about the artwork you just put on their T-shirt. So in along that, I got the moniker Dragon Brush. And that's how I was known, and that's how people knew me in Honolulu, Hawaii.
Were there any particular mythological dragons that resonate with you?
Boy, you know what? My favorite dragons right now, of course, you have Smaug. Everybody knows Smaug now from Lord of the Rings, because, he's in the movies. But, of course, we knew him back when we read the books, back when I was a kid. But you know what? There is a dragon that is very favorite to me in the Dragonlance series books. Which is the Blue Dragon, and I actually have paintings of the Blue Dragon that I've done.
Okay, I've seen that.
Yep, you've seen that. And that is my favorite dragon. I'm not going to say his name because, honestly, it's very important to me, and I actually use this name a lot for things.
So you seem to it seems like you gravitate towards the European style of dragons.
I really do, because I love to show the full body. I love the arms and the legs and the wings and the expanse of it, because as far as I'm concerned, they can do much more. I've done cartoons where people say, don't poke the bear. Well, I say don't poke the dragon because I'm the dragon. And the thing is I've done cartoons where I actually have a dragon holding a knight, just like ripping him up and everything, And yeah, that's that's kind of the crux of it.
Okay. Actually, I would like to talk about a few of your original creations.
Okay.
A while ago, you created and copyrighted a few pigeon characters from a project that fell through. Do you have any plans to bring them back? Because when I was looking at the illustrations of that, like, especially one of them, I was getting like a Wise Guys vibe from it, like Ray Liotta.
Right.
For the one who was like, looked like he was flicking up seed in the
Yeah,
air.
yeah. He was the hero of that story, and when it was put to me to design those characters, they were talking about that being the kind of the prince of that little world there. And unfortunately that project fell through. And you know what? I did copyright them, and I might bring them back in a different project, in a different light.
Okay. You also created a webcomic called Ye Gods.
Oh, yes.
What was that all about?
Ye Gods. You know what? You have Thor and Morrigan and Hercules stranded on an alien planet in an alien universe. What can go wrong, right? What it was basically is I wanted to take these three gods and put them in an impossible situation. Of course, they're gods, so they can usually handle that. But I wanted to kind of cut them off from their normal powers that we know about and everything, and see if they could survive on an alien planet and see what would happen. And in the mix, I made it funny. So.
Why did you choose Morrigan, Thor, and Hercules, just particular gods?
Well, Thor and Hercules have always been my two favorites. I mean, if anybody knows me, they know that I paint many pictures and depictions of Thor. Hercules, I've been drawing since I was a little kid. So, those are two of my favorites right there. And I wanted to throw in a female character, and I wanted her to be a character that people really aren't that familiar with. And Morrigan really fit that bill, I think.
I want to say her name is Yamaya return, the African goddess of the ocean?
Yamaya, yes. Yamaya is very important to this story. She will be in there, and again, you see illustrations of her on that site as well, and you've seen her like floating in the water and things like that. So
I guess I must have gave away a spoiler. So you do plan on bringing back
yes.
Ye Gods down the road?
Yes, absolutely.
What is the status of your other creation, Orc Girl?
Orc Girl, right now, of course, everything's so busy and everything, but I do have things working with her. She's an extremely strong character. I wanted to take a female character and make her extremely strong, and I wanted to draw her in a way where she's not really sexy and everything like Supergirl and all the others. I wanted her to maintain that bestial idea about her. And
for sure.
Very big, very strong. Her muscles are all intact, and I wanted to make sure that, because there are women out there that look like that. There's the female bodybuilders that are just enormous women, and I wanted to kind of showcase that in this comic book.
Okay. Also, while I was doing research on you, I found your YouTube channel and I watched all of your videos. You played a pirate named Captain Wallace, kind of like you and I want to say Spooky J, was it?
Yeah, Spooky Joe. Yeah.
Spooky Joe were stuck in pretty much Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. So,
who was Captain Wallace, and what happened to him?
Captain Wallace is a fun character, I tell you what. I had the idea several years ago of this character that was designed as a Mortal Kombat character, but he got left behind. He didn't make the cut. All right, when they made the video game. So of course he's upset and he's really mad about that. And he's left in the ethereal worlds of cyber world somewhere. And where he resides, he has his little adventures and everything. And of course, Spooky Joe is stuck there with him. And Spooky Joe, unfortunately, is kind of his whipping boy in a sense, So
I guess there's still hope that maybe they might get picked up for Mortal Kombat XL3. The next reiteration. We had Mortal Kombat XL, then XXL. I don't know if there'll be. I highly doubt there'll be a Mortal Kombat Triple X, but
the connotation.
Connotation from that as well. But is Captain Wallace coming back?
He will be coming back. I'm actually working with some TV interests right now to bring him into a public access, domain.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to doing that. I'm thinking early next year we'll be starting to see him on the airways again.
Well, also when I was watching your YouTube videos, I noticed, especially with Spooky Joe, I guess to Guitar Hero, there was you're Spooky Joe. You were
Right.
playing Hangar 18.
Yeah.
So, and I noticed a few metal tracks to other songs. I meant to other videos.
Right.
What bands do you like in the metal genre?
Boy, you know
Obviously,
what?
Megadeth.
Yeah, I like Megadeth. Of course, you know, I love Pink Floyd, man.
Okay.
I mean, you know, you can't Pink Floyd. You just can't beat it. You know. So I always have that playing in the background. I have Disturbed going on a lot of times where I'm drawing right now. Gosh, so many I just can't even remember everybody, you know.
Dr. Gore 2000?
Dr. Gore, you know what? Now, you know, Dr. Gore is just one of those guys that his music was on Jamendo. So, you know, Jamendo's a free site.
Oh, I was
so
like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but forgive me.
Yeah, Jamendo's a free site that you can use the music and everything because they want to promote their artists. So, yeah. And you know what? That song just seemed to go with that drawing that I was trying to put out there and let people watch. So,
Okay, obviously I dropped Mortal Kombat earlier, and while looking at your art, I noticed that you're a gamer. So, games of choice, sir, throughout the years.
games of choice, man. I'll tell you what, Zelda, always Zelda. You can't go wrong with Zelda.
Any particular Zelda?
Oh, you know what? I think my favorite has to be Zelda 2.
Zelda 2 for the Nintendo, the side-scroller?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that, but you know what? That was the one I never played, and I never beat the original one for the Nintendo, even with the gold cartridge.
Well, it was hard to beat.
I never understood it back then. Like now, I'm pretty sure I probably would fail horribly, but still.
Right.
I never understood it back then.
Right.
I mean, I always enjoyed A Link to the Past, and up to the recent Breath of the Wild I have it for the Wii U, but that's a very enjoyable game too. But
I love Breath of the Wild right now. I'm playing that right now. Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, I know I've sunk in over at least 50 hours into it, and I've scratched the surface.
You know what? A lot of times I don't even play the game. I just go in there and start and walk around and look around
And
and
explore.
Stuff.
It's amazing how massive they made that game.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
What are your thoughts on that game? I mean, impromptu question, but it is a conversation.
It's a beautiful game. Like I said, you know, many times I'll go in there. I'll waste a couple hours just exploring, just, you know, killing things here and there or whatever. You know, just gotta kill stuff, you know. But yeah, again, you know, you just haven't even scratched the surface of it.
It's just
Just
an amazing game.
Yeah.
My goodness. I was like just shaking my head over that. Also, while looking at your artwork, I did enjoy your pieces on Okami.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's a long time ago. I love Okami. Though.
Okami is a great game.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, speaking of like a Legend of Zelda type game, but like the artwork for that, like the approach they took for it, the aesthetics of I guess Japanese art, was amazing. And that, you know, even doing calligraphy to defeat enemies.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, another one of those, you know, landmark games that you can always, no matter how far you go or how old you get, you'll always look back and you will remember Okami because it was so striking.
It was a beautiful game.
Yeah.
And speaking of beautiful pieces, you recently had submitted Brainchild to ArtPrize. Let's talk about that piece. What is Brainchild?
Well, Brainchild to me is, you know, as you can see on my shirt too, I'm even wearing a t-shirt today. So, Brainchild to me is really the beginnings of thought. It's almost a Renaissance idea as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's a new way of thinking for people. You know, I mean, hopefully we're all evolving all the time and rethinking and reevaluating our own, you know, ideas and how we perceive the world and things like that. And, you know, really Brainchild is really, I want people to look at it and get it that, you know, you're not just stuck in one set of values. You're not just stuck in one set of a viewpoint, you know. You can change your viewpoint at any given time. And I think that as artists that we change and evolve all the time as well, so.
Did this piece I think the earliest I saw for the date about Brainchild was in 2014. I'm pretty sure it came up before that.
Oh, it came up way before that. I've been drawing this image since I was a kid, really.
Okay.
You know, even when I was I went to Kendall College here in Grand Rapids, and even when I was there, I did several pieces that, you know, were in the gallery there and everything too. So, you know, people that know me really well, they're very accustomed to seeing this image.
Okay, because when I looked at the image at first, I'll be the first to admit, like, I noticed the skull, but I didn't notice the baby
Right,
inside of it.
right.
So I felt slightly stupid, but I was like, oh, okay, I see what that means.
Right. You know, that is kind of a joke that I have, that the stupid people will see the skull.
Prophetic words. Prophetic words. This interview's over.
I'm sorry,
No,
man.
no, it's all good. I mean, like, at first glance, and then, like, but I'm not the type of person to just generally glance at art.
Right, right.
Like, I'll look at it first, like, okay, and then I'll stop, and then I'll try to take in the details as much as possible. So, yes, I'm stupid at first, but then eventually I become sophisticated.
Well, you know, exactly what happened is probably exactly what I want to happen, though. I want people to look at it and say, oh, you know what, that's neat. I've had people come up to me and say, you know what, I didn't even see the baby. I thought that was a brain. They thought it was a brain, and then in their mind, in their eye, it evolved into this image of a baby, of the fetus in there. And that's beautiful. That's exactly what I would want to happen. Exactly what I would want. Of course, you know, it's to the forefront to me because I know it's there because I put it in there. But you know.
Okay. And as we're wrapping this up, I also noticed that you recently started up a podcast.
Yeah.
The Big Dog and Dragon Show. Want to
Yes.
talk about that?
Big Dog and Dragon Show. You know what? That's with a good friend of mine, Dan Holroyd, who is a
Kalamazoo Ghostbusters.
Yes, he is. Kalamazoo Ghostbuster. Good friend of mine. You know, he's been coming over to my place, and we've been, you know, BSing, you know, talking about it and everything. And he was talking about the show that he did back in the day called Big Dog Show. And I had a show back in the day called Randomosity, where we just talked about everything and anything. And so together, you know, it was just natural for us to say, you know what? And we both pretty much pointed at the same time and says, you know what? You want to do a show together? Let's start doing it. So there we are.
And you can find that as
Big Dog and
Dragon on
Show.
Facebook?
Yep, on Facebook right now. Yep.
Okay. So what's new that you're allowed to talk about? I know that those NDAs get in the way, but I always throw that question out just in case.
Right. Well, you know what? It is a very busy time for me, as most times are. I do have 4 different children's books in the wings right now,
Okay.
And I've got some other plans coming out the pike. Always things going on, and you know what? Unfortunately, there's not a thing that I can talk about. I can talk about the book that Dan Holroyd and I are doing together.
Okay, go for it.
It is a book, picture book about his adventures or some areas that he's visited as a Ghostbuster, and it's called Dead Places. And,
Okay.
yeah, so we're putting that together right now.
I didn't even know about that, and I
Yep.
do a lot of research, but
Yep. So
that
I can
went
talk
over
about
me,
that.
sir. All right, and if fans wanted to reach out to you online, where can they find you?
They can find me at dragonbrushart.com or on Facebook, just Dan Monroe, or Google artist Dan Monroe, or yeah, you know.
All right, and final question, sir.
Sure.
What would you like to say to your fans throughout the years?
Oh man, you know what? Thank you so much for all your support. I really appreciate it. You know what? When you come and when you see my stuff on Facebook or whatever, please don't be a stranger. I have Facebook pages of art and my own personal Facebook page. Don't be a stranger. I love to interact with people. You know, definitely like the stuff that I have on there. Talk about it. Share it with your friends. All of those things are free ways that you can support your artist. Not just me, but any artist that you like. All right, so do that.
All right. Well, Dan, thank you for the interview.
Thank you very much.
Folks, this is Joe from MIGeekScene here with Dan Monroe at the Grand Rapids Comic-Con. Take it easy.